Hey guys, some questions have been asked about shared chests, and I just wanted to do a quick video to show you how I use them. And if you have a different way of using them, please feel free to post. I think this is right, so what I've done is it's the beginning of the game. I've not put anything into any of the shared chests. I've not configured any of the shared chests, but I did get research past logistics, so I was able to make this, and this is pretty critical. You'll see in a minute why. So nothing's set up on anything. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set this up to be request link chest number 0. I almost always use, recovery link chest number 0. So the green circle one. Recovery link chest automatically recycled to the share area, supported all items, and is not limited by the shared team's limit. So shared area is confusing because you think it's an area. You think it's a location on the map, but it's not. It's a repository. It's a storage area. And each has a limit, and the admin can actually configure what the limit is, but the limit is set here to 2 billion, right? 2,000 million. And you can limit that. And you could even do a limit of, let's say, 0.01 if you want it to be, take a million and multiply, what's it, 100,000? 0.01. So you could use decimals in here, but let's just leave this because I don't want to limit it. All right, so what we're going to do is first of all, we're going to look here and we're going to put in the items that we're interested in. You put them in as a value 1 and they update every second to tell you how many are in the network. Okay, there's nothing locked in this chest, and that'll become important pretty soon. So let's put 1 into this network. Okay, now we go and we look, and it's been updated to 1. Let's put 2 in. Doing slow inserters so we can do this slow. Okay, so it's representing 2. Now watch this. So if I come over here, so what I always do, and I started this differently, is I used to use this parameter 0. Then I found out when I started using request link number 0, they had precedence over parameter 0. So what it'll do is it'll show you, it'll allow you immediate access to the shared area if you use this one. So now what I do is I lock that gear. All right, now it's not showing up, but if I close it and open it again, it shows me the 2. Now if I go back in here and I look, it shows me 0. So what this is telling you, the blue is telling you what's in the network that is not being shared in your chest. Okay, and if you have another chest and you start using this, then it's what's not in both chests. Okay, now that's showing 0 because this gets precedence. So now let's upgrade. So let's do this. Let's start putting stuff in here. And sorry for not having I might as well put that in. I actually increased the size of the boxes so that you can fit everything in one box. All right, so we're gonna update this to be all of this stuff. Now, so what I usually do is I say I'll put priority left. I'll put down this gray one, which I think people call a buffer chest. Now, if I do that, it's going to switch it to say put it in iron. A lot of times it'll know what's going in there. But what I want to do is I want to set it up to be the recovery link number 0. Now if I go up here and I look, and I have to program this to say what I'm looking at. All right, you see it's going to update every second. It's saying what's in that network. Now, again, there's 141 in there, so there's 100 there, and there's an extra 141 or 236 that is not accessible. Now, if I put this, let's quick take a look here. There's 100, and that says it's not yet 400. So I'm going to quickly lock this, and it just jumped down from 385 to 376 because this is showing 100. This is showing 100. I don't use this network. All right, you can if you want to. I'm going to do kind of an evil thing here, which is get the stuff out of that network. Now, what will happen here is if you start sharing it into this share 0, it will put it in there and it will push anything beyond the limit that's locked back into the share network. But that's kind of a dirty way of doing it. I think a cleaner way of doing this is to put it into the gray box and take out from the white box. Okay. So what do we want to do? Let's put a gray box here. Let's make this guy do only science. And set him up for recovery link chest 0. Now what you should see is this getting full with all sorts of crap that you're putting in from everywhere. It's not getting any. Let's make some inserters so I can make science. All right, so what is this showing? It's showing this the amount of shit going into the network. So let's do the same up here for copper. Now I can access copper and iron from anywhere. And if I do it here, I don't need all these belts. So the zone, which is set up in Brave New Oarc for this game, is pretty big. You hit the home key and you can see the area that you can put shared chests in. If you put it outside that area, it tells you, sorry, you can't go beyond that spot. All right, let's get this guy making red. All right, so there's one more thing I wanted to show you that's not the shared chest. All right, we'll get rid of this. So you see it's messy because it's not putting it into the same slot. If you try to pick it up, you can force it in, but why bother? Just put it into the gray boxes. So now we have things going in. Let's blacklist red and green so they only go into the network. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to put this down and we're going to check to make sure that we have the science in there. Red, green, gray. I'm hitting my middle mouse button to lock these. And even though I'm working on it, they immediately became available as soon as they were put into the network. Now I got to set this up properly though, right? So this is the blue triangle, and it shows all the red that's going in from this guy. So, kind of nice that I could do stuff like this, right? Force it halfway down the thing. All right, there's one more thing that I want to show you is this. So I have this set up for different types, and I can turn them on and off as I need them. The red wire goes from the constant combinator to this, and it says take the red, remember, see, green is not checked. Take each from the red and see if it's greater than each from the green. So in the red, we have nothing, right? We want 100, but, and there's no red in the green. Then it says output a 1 if red is greater than green. Okay, red is greater than green, so it outputs a 1 for whatever. Now, if I turn on this, it'll output that because it's saying, hey, you don't have any of those in my network. Well, I don't have red circuits yet. If I turn these guys on, it's going to set everybody up to be built. So let's go and program this for what we want. So the red wire goes to the input of the decider combinator. The box that you're putting stuff into goes, and what I'm going to do is take one of these boxes. I'm going to right click, shift left click to copy. And I'm going to also put the input from there because I want to see what's in the network. So there's more than 100. And you can see here, if it were set up, it would only be making green now. So what I have to do now is come over here and set this to set recipe. Now, there's another thing, is the junk that's from the recipe you just finished is going to go back into your boxes. So you got to get all sorts of crap in here. Let's set this up to make some. The other thing is, as soon as you change it, it's smart enough to know, and they must have done this, that, hey, whatever he just changed, that's what his priority is. So jump to that. So it's sitting here waiting. Not getting any of my greens because I haven't set up the base yet, right? Come on. Stop asking for green over here. All right, so here we go. Let's go back to set recipe. So now what we're going to do to make this a little bit cleaner is we're going to take the output from that and also make them go to the inserters. And we're going to say set filter, but blacklist it. So it's saying anything that is not being requested, which would be that green, goes back into the network. And anything that is being requested, I don't really need to do this, right? Goes into that box. So I will eventually set this up to only put into the red box and not put into the network. And actually, I want to do that. What'll happen is the bots will have to carry them over here. Do that. But anyway, this is what I wanted to show you, how to do a single constant combinator to have a whole group of items that you want. Later on, I'm going to have it do 50 of these. I might have it do, 200 of these. Turn them off for now. And I'll turn these on and off as I want to make things. This is up until I get the network going. Not the network, but 5 of these. So you can't do that now. So I'm going to delete these. So you don't really need the bots to carry stuff. I've done this. I'm going to put that into the network. Then I'm going to take one of my white boxes. I'm going to set it up to be the blue, and then I'm going to set up raw resources. This makes them accessible from the share. Oh boy, so this is the problem. Be sure you do this first. We're fucked. Screwed up my network. I could have put a filter on it and just said push anything that's not or not coal into the network again. But this is pretty easy to do it like this. So take anything you want from that box, but make sure you put a filter on it. So if you want to be able to push iron or copper or whatever from here and then put them in. Now, it'll put them out evenly. You can't really direct it, say, put all out here unless you put it behind a balancer and then, or a splitter, and then set priorities here. So. All right, guys, so this is what I wanted to show you. And hopefully that makes sense. Let's keep an eye on. So what I do for these is, let's say I only wanted 3,000 iron in the network. Now you would do this for stuff like, let's say you wanted to put 100. Let's do that. So you can't read this box. You can read this box, but it will never exceed one slot full. So if you have 1,000 in there, you don't know that. You only know what's in here, right? So let's look at the white. All right, so it's growing. And you could say, okay, if it's greater than 90, stop and drag from this box over to here. Or you can set up your blue, and let's say I want, you don't put a number in there, you just set it up for any number. It'll tell you what's in the network that's not being shared. Once it gets to 100, it'll start growing this number. Okay, so we're at 100. This number is going to start growing. So what it does is every second it takes from this network. Oh, you know what? We're putting it into the wrong network. Let's put it into the share. Now let me just do something that I'm not all that familiar with. I want to go see what's in this network. Okay, so that also explains something that you could use this for in priorities. So let's say putting in iron from outside the map. All right, and I'm going to set this up. Once I set it up, I'll always see this, right? So this has to be set up to be share 0. Save on belts. So it's showing me what's in that network. Now, I can take from this box. You can see it's going to stop, and every second it gets replenished because it comes from what's in the share network. And if I put down a blue, I've seen some guys, they program this blue to be everything in the world, but you really only need to program each individual blue to be what you're interested in monitoring. Okay, so in addition to this 50, there's an additional 18 in the network, 23. So you're putting in more than you're using. Okay, but let's say you didn't want to touch this. You only wanted to take what was in excess of that. You could set this to say, just give me the whatever gears, and you could see this is the secondary amount. So it's now saying there's 62 in the network, and you're seeing excess of 50. So it should be hovering between 80 and 112. This is only what's excess in the network. And if I program this to be blue, you can see it's a constant 50. It's not dropping now because I'm not taking it from there. I'm taking only what is extra in the network. And that's very useful, especially if you wanted to, let's say, feed steel with extra iron that's not being used. So you pull the iron out from this box for priority locations, and you set this up. Take a look at iron. You set this up to say, I only want to pull out the iron that's in the network. So that's 4472, and that's what this is saying, 4.4. But this is just 100 of that. So you have some priority settings here. What else am I missing? So I haven't gone beyond using one of these because we have a big chest. But if this were a smaller chest, in the first game, I did have to use a smaller chest and set up multiple zones. So this makes it a little bit easier. You're not outputting. Let's not set a filter for one of these, so it doesn't get stuck. All right, it's almost done with red. That'll switch over and do blue, do green, I'm sorry. All right, guys, so that's what I wanted to show you. Hopefully that makes some sense.